Hey everybody, Coach Gus wanted me to show some entrances to the saddle or inside senkaku. I would say that if you don't already know how to do heel hooks, probably don't try them at home because your family won't like you crippling them. So if you already know how to do them, this is a good polish on the mechanics for getting in and finishing a heel hook. So the way we're going to start it is from a seated position. If our opponent is standing and they're coming in here, I can start to connect myself shin to shin and come in behind the knee here. It's a good way to start to off balance them. When I off balance them, I don't want to pull them onto myself this way. That's bad news for me. So when I do this, I'm going to start to lean away towards the hand that I can plant on the mat and pull them and extend them away from me this way, right? So now as I start to go back to my shoulders, I can extend my left leg out and then lock up into a single leg X position. Okay? There's a lot of attacks from single leg X, but a lot of common defenses from the opponent's going to be to peel this foot off, which makes a nice transition into a standard X guard. From the X guard, my goal is to use my knee on my left leg to start to tilt my opponent forward and try to put their hands on the mat. So now they're carrying most of their weight towards their hands, and there's less weight on their legs. So this makes it easier for me to start to lift their legs. I'm going to do that by bringing my knees in towards my chest like this first, and then lifting the legs out in an arc this way like this. But before I do that, I have to switch my legs. I can't do it like this. I'm going to go from a standard X guard to a reverse X guard. So I'm going to stand up. So after I tip them down, I'm going to switch my legs from this X guard here, which is a standard X with my leg on the back on top, to a reverse X where my other leg is going to go through and hook in behind their near leg here. Okay. So again, the whole thing is going to be an entrance from shin to shin, the single leg X, and then scoot this way a little bit. From single leg X to X guard, right? And then after I tip them down, I'm going to go to reverse X guard. So I'm going to use this back knee to start to push them forward. And then once they're down on the mat, I'm going to switch my legs to a reverse X, start to bring my knees to my chest and lift out in an arc. And then I'm going to grab this leg and pull it into myself and start to lock a triangle with my legs here. Right? Now when I start to tip my opponent, I want to tip them away from their, or across their body, I should say. If I'm like this, they start to line themselves up this way. I still don't want to push into their hands. I want to tip them across their body this way to tip them down. And then from here, we're in a saddle or inside senkaku position. If you want to know what that means, senkaku just means triangle. So my legs are triangled, and they're not triangled on the outside. They're triangled in between, inside his legs. Okay? My goal here is to get my hips as close as I can to his hips and then pinch everything down nice and tight so it's hard for him to move away. So if he's trying to pull away, it's easy for me to hold on with just my legs. Okay? For finishing a heel hook, I want to try to expose his heel. So what's helpful is if I actually drive my elbow down, let's rotate this way. If I drive my elbow down like this, it starts to kind of expose his heel this way. Then I'm going to start to drive my forearm against his heel here, and then connect my hands. I can do this in either a gable grip or a palm to palm, like a palm to palm, wrist to wrist, or even a figure four grip. But any of these are fine. I still want to keep nice tight pressure against his hip, and I'm going from his hip to his knee and driving that part forward as I go from his toes and his heel and pulling that part backwards. So if you imagine his leg is like a Z shape, here I'm twisting one this way, twisting the other one this way. And it makes everything explode. So from here, I lock up my saddle position or my inside senkaku. I lock in with this, and instead of pulling across my body like this, I'm trying to rotate it back and up this direction. the more I start to pull across my chest, the more it actually helps him start to turn and escape out the way he needs to get out. So when I'm pulling, I'm not pulling across my chest, I'm pulling up and into myself this way while bridging and pushing into the side of his knee this way to get the finish. And I can finish on my elbow on this side, or I can finish on my shoulder on this side. Both will work just fine. Okay, so let's run through that one more time. We're going to go shin to shin, single leg X, X guard. If they're still standing up, we can start to tip them down to the mat. And then I go reverse X, inside senkaku. And then from here, after I've locked this, I can control them with two legs here. But eventually I'm going to need to do some sort of a transition, however fancy you want to get about it, to expose the heel, right? I don't need this leg across, but eventually I want to make the transition to the heel, lock in, and pull for the finish here. Or if I can get on my side, this actually helps me bridge my hips into the knee. Or if I'm on this side, I can also bridge my hips into the knee, okay? Yeah, let's do one more from this side. So, shin to shin, single leg X, X, reverse X, and then we're going to the saddle. From the saddle, we make the transition to the heel, and I'm going to let go and start to pull here, back, and I'm going to bridge in with my hips as I rotate the foot this way. Okay. So again, be very careful with these. Don't bust up your family's knees, but it's a good way to get from an open guard into a controlled position, which is a single leg X or an X guard, and then move from there to reverse X into your saddle. It's a good way to go from a bottom position into a good inside position with your legs to attack for heel hooks. Thanks guys, and stay safe.